organic, unpredictable, unknown, lovely, beautiful, a sense of fulfillment. This is part of the pleasures of life and not the chores of life.
Coming up on Daily Iowan TV, so warm can it really be called winter? We'll recap the summer-like day in January tonight.
Plus, how would you like to see ratings of professors before signing up for classes? The decade-long project may be coming to the UI sooner than you think.
And in sports, find out what the problem was last night for the men's basketball team.
That's all coming your way next.
Daily Iowan TV starts now.
From Studio 151, your television news, sports, and weather source for the Daily Iowan, this is Daily Iowan TV.
Welcome to Daily Iowan TV. I'm Brad Maxwell.
And I'm Christina Targos. While we are in the dead center of Iowa's harshest season, Monday seemed to forget about snow and ice and gave us some oddly warm weather. We'll go to Daily Iowan TV's Nick Robertson for a recap on students soaking up the sun.
Yeah, guys, this winter has really been all over the place, but today was one of the warmest days we've seen. Temperatures reaching 56 degrees during the day on Monday, with sunny skies through and through and barely any wind. All the snow and ice we've dealt with seem to be forgotten. As you can see, it's all melting away. Students seem to be fine with the lack of winter as well, with many of them even dressing like it was already spring break.
Well, usually I jump on a bus downtown because we had to do some things downtown, run some errands, but I definitely just walked because it's beautiful, and I don't know if there's going to be any more nice days like this the rest of winter.
So the snow may be pretty to look at, but everyone seems to be fine with the warmer winter every once in a while. I'll be back later for an extended look at your weather this week. Back to you guys.
If the University of Iowa student government has their way, students will be grading teachers very soon. Daily Iowan TV's Josh Bolender explains why the changes to the university website could aid students in the long run.
If you have spent any time on the UI campus, you have probably overheard it before. The class sounds interesting, but what's the teacher like? While standard classroom surveys and Rate Your Professor websites currently give students some basic information on their prospective teachers, the University of Iowa student government is trying to do more, giving students a chance to turn the tables on their professors and do some grading of their own on university websites, an idea getting some mixed responses from current UI students.
I think anytime you increase the amount of information like that, it's going to be easier to make a decision.
It'd just be another way for students to look for the easier class.
Who else knows better than how a teacher grades or like the coursework better than a student that's already taken that class?
While students taking classes are surveyed through ACE forms, emails dating back to 2004 show nearly every single University of Iowa student government office has tried to get these results published. After looking into the issue, the UISG found a number of inaccuracies in the surveys for a number of reasons. UISG's executive associate to the president, Kevin Paulson, believes that an electronic ACE form could help represent the students in this conversation.
We think that by giving students this information, they can make well-informed decisions on what the courses they want to take and have balanced schedules, which we think was the original goal that student governments had in mind when they were trying to publish the ACE form data. So we think by accomplishing those two things, we can really give students a better picture of the types of courses they're looking at taking.
University of Iowa students may start to see that change soon, after Paulson and the other members of the UISG recently proposed to standardize course descriptions to the Education Policy Committee, launching their goal into the beginning stages. Josh Bolander, Daily Iowan TV.
Changes to how students can view their classes are expected to be complete as early as next fall.
And now let's take a look at some of the top stories around the world. In Queensland, Australia, torrential rain caused extreme flooding as more than a foot of rain fell over a 24-hour period. A 47-year-old woman is believed to have drowned, and at least 6 others needed to be rescued in Rockhampton, in the northeast region of the country. Many motorists ignored street signs warning of flooding, which led to more work for rescue crews. Similar flooding was seen in the area a year ago. And at least 10 are now confirmed dead after a multi-car crash in Florida over the weekend. As many as 18 others have been reported injured from that crash that happened on Interstate 75 just south of Gainesville. One accident survivor recalls the scene.
It was so crazy because it was so blinding outside that you could have someone literally standing next to you and you wouldn't be able to see them, and really all you could hear was the cars just hitting each other and people screaming, and you couldn't see anything. Like it was blinding. You never knew what was coming from where, and I think that was the scariest part. because there was just so much going on, but you couldn't see any of it.
And an unusual weather combination struck Ohio this weekend: snow and thunder. Yes, you heard me right. The phenomenon occurred with flashes of lightning and gusts of wind as fast as 40 miles per hour. Meteorologists say thundersnow is similar to a thunderstorm in the summer and actually occurs more often than people realize.
Still to come on Daily Iowan TV, the Florida primary is coming up and the dead heat between Romney and Gingrich is loosening up. Get the latest scoop next.
Then later in sports, after 4 straight trips to the NCAA tournament, find out how the women's basketball team's chances are looking this year.
But first, we'll go back to Daily Iowan TV's Nick Robertson to find out if the rest of the week will be just as nice as Monday was. Nick?
And more good news is you can expect something similar for tomorrow, as the high during the day will make its way into the low 50s, but you won't be seeing as much of the sun with mostly cloudy skies forecasted. And in the evening, it will take a sharp dip down to 29 degrees. For your extended forecast, expect to see a fair amount of sun for the rest of this week with mid-40 temperatures. We'll see a dip down into the 30s for the weekend. But with no snow forecasted, you can count down one more week until the spring break vacation. Back to you guys.
A woman in central Iowa who allegedly killed her newborn twin daughters filed a not guilty plea on Monday, as reported by the Associated Press. Jackie Burkle of Nevada, Iowa, was charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder after police found the bodies of the twin babies in the trunk of Burkle's car in early January. Police were tipped off by a co-worker of Burkle's who allegedly told officials Burkle appeared pregnant on the 5th of January and did not 2 days later.
If you've ever fallen victim to an email scam, you know how scary it can be to not know who out there has your private information. The technical term is called phishing, spelled with a PH, but the idea is the same. Hackers send out email scams asking for your information and hope someone catches the bait. But several email giants are teaming up to end phishing. Some big names like Google, Yahoo, and AOL are joining an online organization called DMARC.org. DMARC plans to standardize how emails are approved for all businesses on board, making those sending and receiving emails safer. Social media platforms like Facebook and LinkedIn are joining the cause, as well as Bank of America and Fidelity Investments, since credit card information is often the target. American Greetings, an online greeting card company, has also joined DMARC, as many phishing scams are done through e-cards. DMARC says with these partnerships, they hope these email scams will never reach your inbox.
For those who have been a part of the UI community for several years now, the floods of 2008 still seem like they happened just yesterday. And while buildings damaged by the large amounts of water are finally being restored, other valuables of UI history are still suffering. Back in 2008, the UI moved 10 of its pianos to a safe rental space to avoid flood damage. But 1 week ago, 6 of them suffered the very fate they had tried to avoid. A leaky toilet and sink pipe in the rental space caused 6 of the 10 pianos heavy water damage, and the other 4 were reported to have minor damages. One of the damaged pianos was a Steinway concert grand piano, valued at $120,000.
Florida will have its voice heard tomorrow with the Republican primary. We turn to Daily Iowan TV's Ryan Jones for the political report.
Look out, New Gingrich. Florida's primary polls open tomorrow at 7 a.m., and things are looking up for Mitt Romney. According to Real Clear Politics, Mitt Romney is in a commanding lead in the polls with 41.6% of the vote, with Newt Gingrich at 29.1%. It'll be tough for Gingrich to battle back, being 12.5 points down. Romney's lead came after the last 2 debates when he took the fight to Gingrich.
He said after the first debate that he didn't do well because the crowd was so quiet. It threw him off, yeah. The second debate, he said he didn't do well because the crowd was so loud, so...
Another big factor in Romney taking the lead is the money flooding into Florida for political ads. The Romney camp has outspent Gingrich's by spending $15.9 million to Gingrich's $4 million. Now, most of that money is coming from Romney's super PAC, Restore Our Future, where these super PACs do not have any contribution or spending limits that the candidates themselves do. Gingrich has been on the defensive from these attacks, and he claims that these attacks are false.
We can't beat all of the moneyed power of Goldman Sachs and all of Romney's big money people. We can't beat the money power of Romney himself. We can't beat the dishonesty of his campaign by ourselves. We need witnesses who are prepared to go out and prepared to stand for conservatism and prepared to tell the truth. And we need to run a big truth campaign that beats the big lie campaign.
Now, Rick Santorum and Ron Paul have already conceded Florida and are looking ahead to the campaign trail to Maine and Colorado. Back to you.
All right, thanks for that, Ryan. Now we'll take a look at Hawkeye Sports with Daily Iowan TV's Kate Constable.
Thanks, Brad. Iowa traveled to Bloomington, Indiana this past Sunday to take on the Hoosiers at Assembly Hall. The Hawks got off to a slow start in the first half on the defensive end, allowing Indiana to score 54 points to Iowa's 37. But the Hawks picked things up a bit to start the second half. And here we go. Off the inbounds pass, Matt Gatens hustles down the floor, beating all the red and white jerseys for an easy layup. But the very next play, the Hoosiers turned it around before the Hawks were ready, making it too easy for number 12, Verdell Jones III, to dribble all the way up the court for an and one. And with a score of 43-61, it's Zach McCabe with the strong post move, missing his first attempt, but able to grab the rebound and put it back up for an and one, giving the Hawks a much-needed spark. But the story of the game is really how the Hawks got outworked on the defensive end, allowing the Hoosiers to grab one too many offensive boards and one too many loose balls. They also gave up way too many points in the paint, making it easy for this guy here, Cody Zeller, to have easy dunks all night long. And although freshman Josh Ogilvy hits a nice three with about 6 minutes left in the game, the Hawks just still weren't able to close the gap fast enough. The Hoosiers held on to win 103-89. And let's take a look at some of the game stats. On the offensive end, Iowa had a higher field goal percentage at 63 and a higher three-point percentage at shooting 53.3 from behind the arc. But Indiana out-rebounded the Hawks 37-22 and scored 58 of their 103 points in the paint. Well, let's hope the Hawks can turn things around by Wednesday night as they take on the Minnesota Gophers at 7:36 at Carver Hawkeye Arena. And switching locker rooms here for a second, let's take a look at the women's team. The Iowa women's basketball team has been to the NCAA tournament 4 straight seasons now, but 2012 could be the end. Well, at least with their run. With just 7 games left, Iowa's on the bubble, and Daily Iowan TV sports director Ian Martin presents the case for and against the Hawkeyes.
The Iowa women's basketball team isn't bad, but for the first time in a while, it seems they're not particularly good either. The tournament seems far away even after the team's win on Sunday over 13th-ranked Purdue, the best win of the year for Bluter's bunch and its first over a ranked team.
We, played a top 25 team. I think we finally got over that hump of getting a good team, and it gave us a lot. I think it will feed off of confidence and going into our next game. And I think it's just such almost a relief, a good feeling that we finally got a feeling of a good win.
Iowa does have its overall strengths too. They lead the Big Ten in free throw shooting, but the resume as a whole is not overly impressive. Iowa's road record especially stands out as a weak spot, but the 58 RPI in the nation is a high point. Iowa's final 7 games start away at Wisconsin, and all 7 games are against unranked opponents, with 4 on the road. But that means that even one misstep could mean Hawkeyes' bubbles have burst. Ian Martin, Daily Iowan TV.
That first game at Wisconsin is on Thursday at 7 Central. Last time Iowa defeated the Badgers by 12 at Carver earlier this season. That's your Monday basketball update. Back to you guys.
And before we leave you tonight, check this out. This 77-year-old grandmother and community activist wasn't too old to ride the zip line at Super Bowl Village in Indianapolis.
I'm here on time and undressed. That was my nightmares I had. I'd either get here and it'd all be over with, or I didn't have all my clothes on and trying to find something to cover up.
This is the longest temporary zip line in the U.S. and will be here through Super Bowl Sunday when the New England Patriots take on the New York Giants in the Super Bowl.
And only with Daily Iowan TV can you get a sneak peek into the print version of Tuesday's Daily Iowan.
Read about the student group, Hawkeye Caucus, and their plans to meet with Iowa legislators in March.
And learn what bill just passed Iowa Congress that benefits students who enlist in the National Guard.
Well, that's your Monday edition of Daily Iowan TV. Be sure to check us out at the same time tomorrow or anytime online at dailyiowan.com. Thanks for watching and have a great night.